Guys, I'm gonna do another two knights defense game. That I'm gonna show you from 1994. It was Christensen versus Mark Hebden. Hebden had the black pieces, and it started e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, d4, e takes d4, bishop c4, knight f6, e5, and d5. This is the main position from the previous video that we were looking at with bishop b5, knight e4, knight takes d4, the tibia of the Scotch Gambit. And bishop c5 is the move I'm recommending for black, and that's why we're looking at these two games, because they both have bishop c5. And in the last game, we looked at when white castled in this position, and then black castled right back, and then there was a capture on c6, etc. This game, bishop e3, I believe, is the best move in the position. And again, if white castled here, we would be forced to take on c6, but the same goes for bishop d7, and we take on c6 after they retake. Knight d2, so not castling in this position, just playing knight to d2. And the best move, and the move I'm going to recommend for black, is to play queen h4 here. So this is a thematic move that comes up a lot in these two knights defense. Even in the Traxler Gambit, we saw queen h4 being played a lot. That's a lot of the times where you want the queen, is on h4, sort of as the spoke of the attack against the white king. And so in this game, Christensen took the knight on e4 here, but there's other options. For example, what if white just castles? I think this is still kind of a theory position, but bishop b6 could be played here. c3, just reinforcing the knight. And if black castles, just play f3, kicking the knight. So knight takes on d2, queen takes d2. So you got your queen off the back rank at least. Your rooks are connected. You have the strong pawn e5. And I think both sides are doing fine. c5. You can go knight e2, but you could even go put the knight on b3. Either one is fine. But these positions are more or less even. I would enjoy playing it from either side, to be honest. And so, but in the game, the knights were traded, and the queen did come to e4, and white castled, black played bishop b6, and white played rook e1. I guess that was sort of the plan, was for white to take the exchange knights and bring the queen here and try to regain control of the e-file. But black's queen goes to g6, and the queen looks pretty good on g6. I mean, you can just imagine the bishop coming to h3, and maybe eventually an attack on the king side. But in the game, Christensen played h4, which the idea of h4 should be pretty obvious to anybody over 1400 that that you want to go h5 and attack the bishop again. And actually, in some lines, the bishop might get trapped. So h4, h5. or a4, a5. I've been saying h this whole time. And rook a3, kind of an unconventional idea from white. He wants to bring the rook over to the king side, transfer it. So the old up and over maneuver. Bishop c1. This is, it looks like white had to play this move to bring the rook over to the other side, but in actual fact, it was probably better to play knight b3 here, because you're happy if the dark square bishop trades, because you can take with your other rook, and now you don't even need to transfer the one on the a file. So bishop here, let's say, okay, now you can take here and you can get the knight to a good square, and in the process you're clearing the way for your rook. So that was a little bit better way that white could have played the game. But bishop c1 here, bishop g4, and now queen d2. So looks like white's holding everything together still. And here, see, black could even consider bishop h3 already, you know, just trying to attack, but c5 makes sense. And the knight goes to b5. And now the queen comes over to the other side of the square. So the queen, I'm not sure if I understand that move correctly, because it's not like it's attacking anything on this square. Well, let's see what happens. So the rook goes to g3. That was the plan all along. And the bishop goes to f5. Now white plays h4. But at this point, there's really no chance of of white having an attack with this h4. King h8 is what had been played. Queen d1. Rook to e8. Bishop f4. And we're just kind of going through the rest of this game, just, you know, for shits and giggles. But I mainly wanted to show you these ideas of queen h4. Okay, so rook c1. We see, okay, now black has a serious edge in this game because of, well, this pawn, these open lines on the king side. Yeah, this is, okay, it looks like white tried to disrupt the communication between the queen and the two rooks, but now comes this bishop c2 move, and the problem is that, okay, let's say a move like rook takes. By the way, white resigned in this position, but just let's say if rook takes here, then that immediately picks up the queen. So that's pretty much lights out. But the main things to take away from this game, remember, are this bishop e3 move. This is how you want to meet bishop c5 with white. With black, you could play bishop d7, forcing him to make this trade. And after knight d2, you can play queen h4 to hit that, to defend this knight a second time, reinforce the knight, but also just to get your queen over to the king side. Now, you could even castle in this position if you wanted to, and sacrifice the knight to play queen h4. There's a lot of different move orders that you can experiment with here. There's other moves. There's bishop d7 take, and then there's even queen e7 in this position. And you'll also have to know what to do with castle in this position, which I think queen e7 is actually even a better move here. because f3 can be met by knight d6, and white can't take that knight because the bishop's hanging. Just some food for thought in those positions. Now, in the next two videos, I'm going to show you guys games that start with not the Scotch move order, but the Italian move order when we get a two knights defense. But instead of playing, so we looked at the Traxler Gambit. Okay, in the first series. Then we looked at d4 and how to meet that. How to meet d4 with this d5 here, and then bishop c5. How to play against the Scotch Gambit, right? So how to play against the knight g5 move. How to play against the d4 move, which we covered, and how to play against the d3 move. And those are the three main move orders that you're going to have to know if you want to play the two knights defense, which is what I'm trying to teach. And after that, we'll cover other openings and other defenses. But I think that's a good starting point, is to just understand and learn the two knights defense. All right, thank you.